Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons The Second Age. How are we all doing?
Pretty good.
Excellent.
For once, I'm not screaming at the start of a session. It's been a while.
It has been a while. So, I guess, who wants to recap us on exactly what happened the last time we played?
We fought the whole time.
Yeah, it was one big combat. Because we had just come out of this forest that you see in front of you, from like here-ish, and we'd been like, damn, it's Tritherion. And Tritherion had told us that, like, yeah, there's gonna be a big fight. So we had agreed that, yeah, we're gonna fight this demon arm. So we came up with a master plan, which was that Tritherion, Grim, Kelariis, and Elizabeth would hold the Nyxes, watching the flanks and just defending against the horde, while Arya and Sabrina,
Nope.
Yes.
Sabriel.
Sabriel, I was close.
No. Sabrina.
I got the Sab right. Fuck
No.
you.
Sabrina, the
no
teenage
right.
angel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sabriel. Sabrina, the teenage angel. Yeah. So yeah, Arya and Sabrina went on ahead to destroy this evil effigy statue thing that was limiting Tritherion's power, and therefore preventing angels from resurrecting and whatnot. Things started pretty well in the Nexus. We were holding our ground very well. Demons were falling. Nothing too major was coming at us. Meanwhile, things for Arya and Sabriel were going less well. They all got affected by an unfortunate aura that this effigy was giving off. They were locked. The army of wolves Arya had summoned was locked in place and just became damage sponges for the demons. They were struggling to make progress. Shatter didn't blow it up instantly. They couldn't then make it to the statue. It was a nightmare. And while things were falling apart there, another Baelor showed up at the Nexus, and we were like, shit. And then as soon as we dealt with the first Baelor, which resulted in Kelariis very exploding, because obviously someone had to hit it to detonate the thing, another one showed up. So we were in a lot of trouble. So Elizabeth runs off ahead to try and help Sabriel and Arya, but Sabriel manages to defeat the evil, that big boss guy with the spear who's being evil. I forgot the name of.
Master of Cruelties.
The Master of Cruelties. She managed to down him, and Arya had been desperately trying to smash this statue, hadn't been working. And once Sabriel had downed him, she just turned around and boom, no more. At which point, Elizabeth arrived and was like, guys, there's a big Baelor and Kelariis has gone down. And Sabriel was like, hold my and off she fucking went. We all came back, we dispatched, the second Baelor was successfully dispatched. The guy who's being carried around in the classic fancy chair of being carried in was like, fuck it, I'm out, seeing the statue had gone. And luckily, with Tritherion's power restored, we were able to bring Kelariis back to life. And then we all had a lot of questions for Tritherion about what the fuck was going on. And yeah, we've all been promised a boon for helping out. And it's basically now, are we going to go home, or are we going to have a long rest, then go home?
We should probably at least rest once, is what I'll say.
Yeah, it's basically, do we want to go home and long rest, or do we want to long rest here and then go home?
Well, before we cut to that part, we ended with Tritherion transforming his copy of Freedom's Tongue, the spectral form, into a drop of light and merging it with Kelariis' weapons, restoring the Trinity of weapons.
So now they've got much longer names, and as we all know with magical artifacts, the longer the name, the more powerful it is.
Precisely. But with that, Tritherion turns then back to the rest of you and says, and so to you. What boons would you ask of me?
Arya frothing at the mouth. A magic bow.
Yeah, but how would Arya actually word it? Because I don't feel like that's how she.
No, that's not how she would word it. Also, I don't think she would go first. I feel like she would leave
Yeah.
that to Kelariis.
Well, Kelariis has
This
already
is
got
her
hers.
god.
Clarence-
Yeah, I was like, I
Clarence
got
has
my
the-
shit.
Oh, that's true, I guess.
Clarence
Clarence
has
has wild
the-
shit.
that's-
Oh my-
This is directed of the rest of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Grim doesn't speak up first, then I guess Elizabeth would eventually say something. But it's.
Oh, I
important.
guess. Well, if you take it, like, yeah, I guess I'll just. I'm not sure what you could grant us, but anything that would help perhaps turn the tide in the darkness that we will face soon. There will be a moment where everything will seem to fail, and that's when we'll need your help most. So I'm not sure what you. It's hard to phrase.
I understand what you mean. That is difficult. Give me a moment, and I will consider it. He turns to the others.
Yeah. Then I guess Elizabeth would say, well, I put so much focus in my abjurations because I wanted to protect my allies, but my friends. It's been harder to do that than I thought. So anything that could help me with that task would be nice.
He nods. Says, that one I think I can aid with more directly. And he... I guess he would kneel down and he says, come, approach me.
Yeah, she does so.
He places like one hand on your shoulder, and you feel like a warm surge come from this giant hand that's placed on your shoulder and flow through the rest of you. You feel almost your connection to the weave of magic grows stronger. Like it's being reinforced, almost like his strength is being lent to yours in and offering you more coverage to your shield. And he will grant you the boon of protection.
Oh.
Now I have the Zelda noise in my head.
Yeah.
God.
The best noise to have in your head.
This noise.
But yes, you are granted the boon of protection. You can read what it does.
Ooh.
I guess after
Yeah.
this, Arya will step forward and say, I must admit, there are times when I'm facing a foe who cannot be affected by normal means, and a bow that could do magic damage would be a wonderful gift, if that's something that you could do.
He he looks up from where he's kneeling next to Elizabeth and says, "Again, a simple request. That is something I can."
Arya's
Well-
fucking losing her shit.
It is
It's-
comparatively simple.
It is comparatively simple to something that can help me turn the tide of darkness.
That's true.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah. Something that got me to
Um,
darkness or a magic bow, which is easier.
And he says, "In fact, I think I can do you one better."
Oh my god!
Arya losing her shit.
I had
Oh
a
no.
magic bow at one time, but it was taken from me.
And he holds up both of his hands and forms like a crescent in the air. And you watch as branches, like almost like branches from the silverwood tree, interweave amongst each other, forming like a twisting spiral that forms into the shape of a longbow. He plucks the bow from the air and pulls a strand of chaotic magic from the essence of the Feywild.
Nice.
Strings this bow with a strand of light and offers it to you.
Oh my god.
I presume you take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you step up and take this from his hand, you feel like a rousing essence fill your spirit. And as you go to you draw an arrow, knock it to the string, and draw it taut. And you can feel in your fingertips as you draw it. This bow is powerful, but you can change its properties.
Oh my god.
So you are now the proud owner of Guardian's Arc.
Ooh.
+3.
It is
Plus
a plus,
three, man!
+3 magic long row. But you are also granted the Boon of the Vigilante.
The vigilante.
Oh,
my god.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. No, you're Lithari.
I was reading and suddenly it was
Oh wow, that's a lot of wow. That's a
there's
long.
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you read at the bottom, it says, while attuned to the Guardian's Arc, the wielder and any allies who travel with them are resistant to the warping effects of the Feywild.
Yo.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's great.
And I can make survival
Oh
checks
my
to
God.
avoid trickery.
Wow.
Oh my god, that last one on the Boon of the Vigilante, that's wild.
Oh my god. 3 attacks.
3 attacks!
Once per short rest, but
Still.
This
Yeah,
is
that's
just
still awesome.
enticing us to take short rests more often.
Yeah, seriously. As we never fucking do.
Yeah.
Fine.
Grim
Uh,
dying in the background, please. Take
I
one
just
short
wanna
rest.
take a short rest.
We're like, no, Grim, it's fine.
but yes, you
Just keep going.
you have access to
What?
Carapace Breaker, True Seeker, and Relentless Hail as special as special shot types.
Yes.
The 8 damage is a lot.
Yes, a reduction to your opponent's AC for 1 minute.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's powerful.
I have to keep these sheets open forever because I'll forget all this shit instantly.
It's okay. We'll add them to your sheet as like actual weapons, but yes, you'll need to remember the boons. And I think at this point, Tritherion turns to you, Grim, and says, "I'm afraid the gift I can give you is perhaps not so direct. I think I can lend you some of my power that you can use in the moments you need the most. It will be powerful, but you will need to direct it yourself.
Oh.
Word of warning, though. The power I will grant you is unpredictable. Be sure of what it is that you want before you commit, as you do not have the same luxury that perhaps myself and Sabriel have when it comes to shaping the weave of magic. But he conjures 3 motes of light in his hand and then propels them towards you. And you gain the Boon of Reversal.
Oh,
Mm.
Oh.
oh. I like how my boon is conditional.
Oh my god.
It's fine.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Holy fucking
You
shit.
can cast Wish.
Okay. Yeah, you.
Well,
It's not quite as broadly powerful, but yes, 3 uses
Yeah.
of the spell Wish.
I can't even cast that yet.
who would have thought of Grim being the first person in the party to be able to cast Wish?
I know.
No one. Absolutely no one. I'd say let's go tell Helena, but I imagine Ferrous has told her already.
There was some consultation.
Yeah, that means yes.
Well, I will only use it when the situation is most dire.
Tritherion nods and says, I trust you to make that decision. And then he stands up from his kneeling down and says, well, you are welcome to stay and catch your breath. He turns to Kelariis and says, I know we perhaps still have some things to discuss. That can be...
A bit, yes.
We can discuss that in private if you would prefer. But you are welcome to stay as long as is needed. Just be warned that as time passes here, it passes differently in the material plane. My magic can give you some defense against that, but it is not perfect. I guess he sort of like he looks around and says, I cannot offer you shelter in the form of somewhere to stay, but know that whilst you are here, you need not fear the elements.
I mean, even then, I can kind of cover the shelter part.
As you wish.
Then just kind of like, in a silly moment, just wiggles her fingers and it's like, magic!
He offers you a polite nod.
He is unimpressed by you.
He acknowledged it though. That's better than what Arya would do.
What?
Oh, and before I forget, last time I promised you the information that Tritherion knows about sorcerers, orders, or individuals who have been who have had contact with the abyssal plane.
Yes.
Because I did not have them to hand at the time. Elizabeth, can you roll me I guess this would be a history check.
Cool. Just history.
I will give you advantage.
Cool. Oh. there you
Okay,
go.
Wow.
that's pretty good.
31!
So, of the names and histories that Tritherion mentions, 3 of them stand out. The first of which is the name Visastrus.
Disastrous.
Who was There's a chance Kelariis probably has heard this name in passing in mythology, as this is the name of a dragonborn sorcerer who was a companion to Vash, who was the person who first established the Dragonborn Empire. He is supposedly the favoured son of Bahamut, and was among the first Dragonborn. And Visastris was a Dragonborn sorcerer who was Vash's companion, and depending on what version of the lore you read, also possibly his lover.
Alright.
But yes, very very powerful mythical Dragonborn sorcerer.
Cool.
The second name that is rings a bell with you in a more academic sense is the name Rodel Emberon. Rodel Emberon wrote a series of arcane grimoires on a number of topics, but he was very famous for encoding his grimoires in riddles and sort of like poetry and other literary devices. But yeah, Tritherion mentions that he was one of the people who was renowned for abyssal planar travel, which may explain some of his oddities and quirks.
Yeah. It's usually how things work.
So yes, the grimoires of Rodel Emberon might be a point that you can investigate. The third thing that he mentions that rings a bell with you is an order known as the Shades of Inan Matil.
Sounds sinister.
The Shades of Inan Matil are or supposedly were a group of individuals who were, I suppose the best comparison is to call them shaman. Of one of the initial primordial races that existed in the material plane before the establishment of elves and humanity and all of that, and the War of the Gods. The Shades of Inan Matil, given your academic understanding, would probably once have been called giants or giant kin, except their more modern offshoot would be what you would know as Goliath. Who most civilized races have not seen for centuries because they live north in the frozen wastes beyond the mountains. And most people don't really know where to go looking for them.
Yeah.
But yes, they are the Shades of Inan Matil are an order of Goliath shaman.
Wild.
But yes, those are the ones that you recognize or have an understanding of and think would be your best points of investigation.
Cool.
But yes, after the boons have been awarded, the information relayed, the four of you are sort of left to go about your own devices. Kelariis Tritherion is sort of... he's not standing around expectantly, but he is just sort of hanging around near the broken statue in the middle of the Nexus, almost expecting you to come and talk to him. But whether you do that or not is up to you. And the rest of you, yeah, you can take a rest or whatever is needed.
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely probably sit for a hot second.
Yeah.
Because...
Still catching up with the whole not being dead thing.
Yeah, and I imagine that beyond the whole mental and emotional impact of that, imagine not feeling so great physically either.
Hmm.
I imagine it feels like after, I don't know, I used to take part in like really long soccer tournaments sometimes, and like I would always remember right after the weekend was done, I just felt dead the next day, and I imagine it's just like so much worse than that.
It's that, but literally.
Yeah, it's where I just didn't want to do anything, but
yeah.
I
mean, you guys have been sat here for quite a while, so if you want to roll some short rest dice, you can.
I guess just on the off chance that anything bad happens, I guess that makes sense.
But yeah, you can take a while to sort of like recover your. And actually, Arya, what you can do is you can tend to Kelariis' wounds if Kelariis wants to roll hit dice with it without rolling below half.
Yeah, I can totally do that.
Yeah, sure. I'll roll a couple.
I rolled horribly there.
Yeah, I probably won't roll like a ton of them, but...
Yeah, that is pretty awful, Minnie.
That's pretty bad.
Well,
Minnie,
fortunately,
that's rough.
I don't expect much fighting for now.
Yeah, hopefully
now
we'll
we're
take a
just
long
gonna get
rest here
fucked up.
before too long.
Like, these legs will run all they can. If fighting happens, it's fine.
Sorry, so it's just basically that I can't get less than half of the actual hit dice roll?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and anything that is lower than 6 is counted as 6.
Okay. I'm just gonna do... roll 20, please.
Don't worry, those are 2 sixes.
It's great, okay. Fantastic. So it's 7...
Yeah, that's 9, 7, 7, 9.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm doing math and struggling because my brain's not working. 32. Okay. Instead of, adding them one by one like a normal person would, but...
It's 34.
Oh, I set my thing instead of adding, like a fool. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what everybody else is doing, but I'll definitely go and, like, talk to Tritherion because...
Yeah. Okay.
As you do, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like... Kelariis has questions he wants to ask, but I think is curious to see if he has anything to say first, so like doesn't just like launch into it right away.
Yeah, so you go and like take your place next to him, and he just he doesn't say anything to start, and just sort of says, like after a brief pause, just sort of says, "I don't know exactly what it is that she told you, but I think I know the gist."
I mean, she definitely said a lot trying to convince us to work with her instead of against her.
He
How long
nods slowly.
did you know that it was her?
Not for a while. I had my suspicions as to what may have happened to her. But I did not think... He visibly sort of hesitates for a moment. Give me just 1 second to look something up. Come here. Yeah, okay, so he visibly hesitates and says, the thing you must understand, I knew Valorwell. I knew she had strong beliefs. She always did. There was once a time that perhaps she would have held my admiration. I did not think her capable of what she did, though. But to another extent, I understand, at least in part, her desperation. We all did once.
Do you mean that she turned against him eventually?
More what she did after. There were many who rejected Tharizdun, and Bane and Vecna, and wished to return to Celestia, but Valorwell was different. She kept all of his means and motivations, I thought at first, without all of his willingness to throw away our ideals. I think in the end all that she proved was that she was willing to use them differently. The truth of the matter is, she exploited people as much as the others were willing to do. She just claimed it for a righteous purpose. I don't need to explain this to you. I think you already understand.
Yeah, I kind of just like nod after a bit of a pause to like not think about it, because like Kelariis knows, but or understands at least, I think, as best she can, but yeah.
Yeah, a moment to process.
Yeah. I do think, though, that I understand that things were different and the situation was precarious in a very specific sort of way, but if it is not overstepping any boundaries, I would like to ask your side of it. And perhaps I think I'd like to know why you did what you did. Or didn't, I guess.
He bows his head and says, I promised you my side, and my side you shall have. The truth of the matter is, at least the way that I see it, We went seeking a new world. All of us did. The Celestial people as a whole. We wanted a chance to explore somewhere different. You understand, Celestia had been our home for centuries. We were, all of us, immortal. We had mastered wonders such as art, construction, poetry. We longed for something that was different. And we stepped into this world knowing full well that there would be risks. When we arrived, it was a hostile world. We forged a foothold, saw what the others were doing, dabbled our hands in creation. And by the time we knew that what we had done had, well, destroyed our livelihoods as we knew them, it was too late to back out of that commitment, as much as Torm would like to think otherwise. My refusal to step in was weighted based on my unwillingness to subject humanity to being a pawn. I heard what Tharizdun had to say about all of it, the doom that he foresaw, should we do nothing. And I think perhaps in that moment, I was granted clarity where the others were in discord. I realized that we had chosen this fate, and we had changed things, even if we did not know the consequences at the time. Our lives were changed. And we had to accept that. For want of a better term, to leech off of humanity's faith would extend our survival. Which, if you look at the world now, is evident. Faith is one of the few things that keeps us going. But to do that to a fledgling race who had no say in the matter, it would have been cruel. We would have been forcing them to worship us. I abstained because I knew that without a unanimous decision either way, we would be forced to find a different method. That is the part where I perhaps at least have some regret. I naively thought that in that moment they would all band together and work in a way that would benefit all of them, when instead they fractured. Valwell saw it, I think, as my dooming us to extinction, but I think we had already done that. And in my exile here, I have come to terms with all of that. I have realized that there is a time that comes when all things must be returned to their essence. And nothing has taught me more than that than humanity. There are those among us who once believed that the impermanent did not have value in the same way that perhaps things that lasted longer did. But now, from watching the mortal races grow and shape things, I've learned that nothing is more beautiful than impermanence. And I think one day, all of Celestia will be returned to the weave of magic. But that will not be the end of us. Rather a new beginning. I do not know if this is perhaps too complex of a thing to grasp. It has taken me 1,000 lifetimes to understand. I do not expect you to understand the specifics right now. But perhaps you can at least understand my perspective.
I think that I do, at least as best that I'm able. Something being forever and just having no change seems dangerous, to be honest. So I can at least understand, I think, that things having an end eventually is not bad. Not inherently, at least.
He nods.
And I think that I always felt that that your choice that you made had good intentions. I was never questioning that. I just wanted to be able to hear... I wanted to be able to hear it from you instead of somebody who viewed you as having betrayed them. Or sentencing them to some sort of doom.
I think it is good that you have heard both sides. I would much rather you make your own decision on the matter. And understand that I am in no way saying that the decision I made was correct and that everyone else should have agreed. I am simply putting forward how I saw it.
I mean, in the end, you made your choice and they made theirs. I think that there is a degree of respect that can be afforded to everybody in that situation. Even if some choices led to worse outcomes in the long run. Or at least different ones than maybe were hoped for.
I think perhaps you understand this better than I had expected you would. That is another thing I have learned in my exile.
And Kelariis just kind of like tilts her head in question.
I believed at first that Tharizdun's madness was purely selfish, something that he brought upon himself by not having the foresight to understand. But with time, I think perhaps even now, what he intends is for the benefit of us. It is simply his means that are not acceptable. He would destroy everything to reform a world in his image, the way he thinks things should have been. He wishes only to create a salvation for Celestials, but to destroy everything else. I do not think that is what my people stood for. And I think if you ask any of the rest of us, they would agree. That is why I am concerned of this talk of slaying him. It would indeed be an end to everything, but I do wonder if there is a better way. Though if there is, I do not foresee it.
If there is a way that we could get him to stop and to reconsider, then perhaps, but I don't have the same understanding that you do, but to me, it seems that if we don't, one way or another, put an end to what he's doing or trying to do, that this will just be this will just continue.
Tritherion nods. I think, as regrettable as it is, we have long passed Tharizdun's point of redemption. His ordeal has been long, and his power is so grown that I wonder if the act of removing him from it itself would create instability. He is as much his desire for destruction now as anything else. I wonder if he's even still able to take his original form. That is another thing about Celestials. We are beings of emotion. We embody that which is the largest part of us.
What do you mean by that?
Take myself or Sabriel, for example. I may be Lord of Vengeance, the righteous figurehead that many look to, but in the end I wish to be seen as compatriot, friend. I wish to inspire people to do things under their own power than under some obligation. So I appear to you as I am now, a man, clad in the armour of my faith, but a man nonetheless. Sabriel is passion. She is everything that I am in the heat of the moment, and so she embodies fire, but controlled. The other gods, were you to meet them, they would embody themselves differently. Palor was always a fan of radiance and light. He embodied all that was, in his eyes, purifying. Thorm was that of law and rigid order. Were they to appear before you, they would perhaps not appear as I do. They may appear as a tome or a blazing sun. I often wonder, with all of that hatred and desire for destruction, what Tharizdun became.
Probably not something very pleasant, if I had to take a guess.
He looks up at the sun, which up until moments ago didn't seem to have. It was high in the sky, but now appears to be almost like a cresting the sunset. Your assessment of the passage of time here is somewhat diluted, but it's almost as if the time of day has changed to reflect Tritherion's mood. He looks up at the setting sun and sort of says, I think perhaps physical appearance is something that will matter less if he is confronted. I think he will embody whatever form he needs to accomplish his goals. And I think in that he has lost most of what it means to be celestial. But that is supposition. I think at the end of the day, it does not matter, because it will not be my choice. He turns back to you and says, if you do face him, do one thing for me.
Yes?
pity him. He may embody something that is truly abhorrent to the both of us. But he became that out of fear.
Fear can do terrible things, even it seems to Celestials, not just us who are mortal.
He nods. Fear is what drives many who follow him. He sort of reaches down and places a hand on your shoulder and says, "We, on the other hand, we are courage. And that we do not forget easily. So courage is not the absence of fear, but merely the acceptance of it. And the resilience to confront it."
Where's Kelariis heard that before?
Yeah. I think Kelariis just kind of like looks at him and nods very like resolutely and understandingly. I hope that I can inspire others to do the same.
He smiles. Can I tell you something?
Of course.
Of all my other champions, I knew their hearts. Their hearts were good and noble. But I think you are the first one who truly understands mine. He looks back up at the setting sun again and says, "May your step never falter, Kelariis."
I will not let it.
Then I can ask no more of you. But I suppose this is the time for perhaps some respite.
I admit that would be nice.
He looks over to where your companions are all sort of resting in the shade of the trees, and he just sort of says, "Go, join them. If you have any more questions, I will be here."
Thank you.
He bows his head.
I think Kelariis gives like a short bow as well and goes over.
Okay. The four of you are reunited.
Yep. I think Elizabeth, as soon as Kelariis walked away, just got her spellbook out and is now using it as a backing for whatever she's writing on a spare piece of paper.
Okay.
She's just like she doesn't really have anything to say, so she's just writing something.
Okay.
I feel like well, enough has happened for everybody just to relax, right?
Yes. So, I guess, unless anyone has dialogue or a scene they wish to instigate, this is the point where you take take a long rest, rather.
Cool.
Okay.
And unless someone in the party objects, might as well cast Daemon's Tiny Hut.
Okay.
I feel like Grim would would say something like, I feel like we're still under their protection. Wouldn't it be a little bit rude to be like, you know? It's now that Tritherion has its power back, I think we should be safe.
I mean, yeah, okay, maybe it is. Okay, if you're sure. Yeah, there will be no Leomund's Tiny Hut.
Okay. You stop ritual casting Lumen's Tiny Hut.
Yeah, I think like not right away when Kelariis comes back, like probably after sitting for a while, just kind of looks to everybody and just thank you for standing by me and by Tritherion in this.
There's nowhere else I'd rather stand.
You've got our back and we've got yours. Turns out your back includes Tritherion.
Well, I suppose in a way, watching someone's back involves looking after all those they care about, right? Because if you're watching someone's back, you want to avoid them harm, and to avoid them harm, that does, in a way, by extension, involve preventing harm to those they care about, right? Because if something hurt those they cared about, then they'd be hurt.
So I think if we hadn't been here today, things might not have ended as well.
No,
Not
I
just for Tritherion,
so.
but for all of us.
Still, you all chose to fight, even though it is not necessarily your battle directly, and thank you. And know that you have me at your back as well.
Well,
You're welcome.
you're welcome, Kelariis. Just make sure you don't go thinking that you now owe us something.
No, I give my support and my friendship freely.
Cool. Well, so do I. So, isn't that nice?
I think we'll do.
Okay. So, as the evening sky turns to night and the rest of you sort of settle down with your things to take a long rest, the darkness in the sky is interrupted briefly by a flaming streak that tears across the sky, illuminating it, and descends. Tritherion rises to his feet, and the rest of you sort of are briefly on edge for a moment until he like as he watches this streak coming down. But eventually it slows, and the winged form of Sabriel lands in front of him, and the two of them begin to engage in conversation. But yes, other than that brief disruption, you all take a long rest, and you all level up.
Woo!
So you may adjust your stat sheets accordingly, and restore all of your hit points and things.
Rob, I just skill feat instead.
You took a skill feat.
Yes.
Which one?
The skills.
Skill.
Yeah.
Oh,
Skilled.
skilled.
Not skill
Yeah.
feat.
Oh,
The feat's
sorry.
Skilled.
Okay,
I was like, wait.
She's getting 3 proficiencies.
that's fine.
And I want them in nature, medicine, and the last one is hard to decide on.
Well, what do you already have?
I have insight, athletics, perception, stealth, and survival.
Ish. Animal handling? I don't
Yeah.
know. Or is there anything you'd like to be better at? Sleight of hand.
Did you
I
say
don't-
I'm
acrobatics?
pretty good at sleight of hand.
She's not proficient in acrobatics.
No, athletics.
Well,
Oh.
you can get
Acrobatics might be
acrobatics.
fun for you.
I have a +5 to acrobatics.
Yeah,
But
but
it
like
could
plus,
be
Then you can
even
get a
more.
+10.
Oh my god.
getting,
Just
like, it's
fucking
all-
doing cartwheels and
Yeah,
swinging
you
off.
have
could be
Yeah,
you
can
could
have
be
a
as
+10.
acrobatic as Kelariis is
speed.
athletic.
Yes.
it's all about them big numbers.
You
Look at
can't,
the
however,
number
be
in one
as
sense.
acrobatic as Elizabeth is intelligent.
Those are weird things to compare, but sure.
Yeah.
You're as
Okay, well, I
acrobatic
guess I'll
as
just
my
go ahead
brain.
and do acrobatics because it sounds fun to just like fucking swing off trees.
Yeah. Yeah. Hang upside down from a tree with a bow strung, ready for a sniper shot. Be great. Anyway.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so you've done that.
Oh,
Oh, I need to do hit points. Shit, I need to do math.
yeah.
I already did my hit points.
Well, I need to adjust like a whole entire stat thing, so I need to do way more math than I usually do for a level up.
Oh, you're getting pointing con.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
so
you can-
I will finally have more hit points than Minnie or Grim. even.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I have way more hit points than Grim.
So you,
Debatable, Minnie.
Yeah,
I bet you.
Wow.
I don't think you do, Minnie.
It's fine. Let's hope we never have to find out.
Yeah, let's hope a Baylor never comes charging at real life you.
And then-
Yep.
okay, so
Oh, I'm 5 hit points off from a. Never mind.
Does that mean you're on 164?
Yeah. I was like, God damn
Wow.
it. Look, let me
Nice.
find solace in the dumb things, okay?
Yeah, no, that's allowed.
yeah, don't forget to actually increment your levels as well on the sheet to make sure everything goes up properly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how many hit points are you getting? You're a D10, right? You're a D10 plus 1.
That's
Yeah.
7.
So you're up to 97.
Oh,
I still haven't broken 100, guys. We suffering.
Yep.
Well,
You
You're so
still
close.
die to a power word kill.
God
But
damn it.
You have
We'll get you
12. Like you have a +1 to con, right?
Yes, yes, plus
yeah.
1 to con.
Wow.
get on my level, +4.
Like it's amazing how big of a difference it is between the levels.
It's your level times your Constitution modifier.
Yeah. I mean, it makes math easy, which is nice.
Wait, but like, wait, she's at 76 right now. You said.
No, 97.
Oh, 97. Oh, okay,
97.
yeah.
Oh my god, can you imagine if I have 76 hit points at this stage?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a wizard with -1 con. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Or it's a warlock who rolls really badly on their hit rolls, which I have done.
Ugh.
Yeah,
It's rough, is what it is.
yeah, sounds it.
I don't want to
This is
talk
why I
about
don't-
it.
This is why I don't think I'll ever roll those unless a DM specifically says I have to.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'd
Here's
love
something
to roll.
You'd think that the rolling twice and taking the higher would be pretty good until you roll minimum hit dice like 3
Both
levels
times.
in a row. No,
Yep.
like 3 levels in a row. I rolled minimum for both my hit dice, and I was just like, I
Ugh.
just shouldn't even do this anymore.
Yeah,
It's
that's rough.
bad.
It's
See,
rough, buddy.
see, this is where I like the Destiny RPG, where regardless of the level you are, you have somewhere between 9 and 36 hit points,
Absolutely ridiculous.
depending on how often you get hit.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning, everybody.
Yeah, so the thing you're immediately aware of, Arya, as you meditate, is the first thing that you notice is that you can, when you awaken from your meditation, you can see the stars in the sky, but much like when you're in the Feywild, they don't conform to any star patterns that you would recognize in the material plane. And as you watch them, you can observe Tritherion. Tritherion does not move from the Nexus for the entirety of this quote-unquote night. And he almost seems to be directing and moving the stars with like a series of hand gestures as he is just seemingly musing to himself and almost using the starscape as a canvas for his own thoughts.
Wow, that's extra.
Oh my god, he has Skywrite.
Yeah, he literally like is adjusting the star patterns to compose his own thoughts almost. During the night, Sabriel comes and goes several times, as well as some 2, maybe 3 different angels that you've never seen before begin to appear, approach Tritherion, have a conversation, and then leave. And right as you're beginning to feel like it should be approaching the dawn, it's difficult to describe exactly how this functions, but basically, as you would expect it to become dawn, it does.
Okay.
Not so much in the sense that you perfectly predicted when the dawn would be, but more like the act of believing that it should be dawn made it so.
Wild.
What are we, Warhammer Orcs now?
Not quite. But yes, it is very abundantly clear that you are in a place that does not necessarily conform to the conventional laws of time or physics. But yes, eventually all of your companions arise, and as you finish getting up, getting ready, getting re-equipped, Tritherion steps away from the statue and approaches where you are camped out. And he sort of greets you all with a nod and says, "I trust you all slept well."
Yeah, it's nice in the Feywild.
I am curious as to what your next move will be.
Well, I'd be lying if I said I'd figured that out yet. However, we are considering the powers that the Dread Legion is wielding, we should probably find out more about what they did to you, for example.
Yeah.
Because I doubt their powers are limited to hindering a god.
It is certainly a worrying indicator of what they are capable of.
Well, I mean, you've
Yes.
given me some potential research topics, and I think all of us can agree that it's probably a good idea to try and find the Raven Queen.
Yes.
And, well, we know someone who might be
Oh.
able to, right?
Well, we do have someone who has somewhat close connection to the Raven Queen, so
Yeah.
At
If we
least.
can find her, the least we can do is ask.
yes. You might be familiar with the B.
I am familiar, yes. I admit I have, through what limited vision I have, watched her with some interest. She's certainly an unusual one.
I feel like
Does that
people
mean
say that quite often about her.
I feel like people say that about most of us at this point.
Does that mean you know where she is now?
I do not.
Worth asking.
My visibility is limited to areas of my domain and where my followers inform me.
In that case, I think
I mean, yeah, I can always just ask her.
the first step will be go back to our base and see how. Well, there's always the off chance that she's returned, and we won't even have to go looking.
Yeah.
Tritherion nods and says, I have been able to determine one thing that may be of interest to you.
Yes.
I have, in the time that you have been resting, attempted to divine what the next move of the Dread Legion will be. And whilst I have not been able to see it directly, I believe it involves some people that you know. Though what role they remain to play is unknown.
Oh.
Who though?
Well, we had been told by the now expired Cabal.
Expired.
It's a way of saying things.
Yeah, it sure
that
is.
we've been told that perhaps, or well, that the Dread Legion had targeted us in some ways, but they were preventing it, or that's at least what they told us. But they are it's quite the tricksy bunch, so I'm not sure how much of that was true.
I think it is
Oh, we
close
don't have-
enough to the truth.
This is where I wish our friend hadn't run off with the only person that knew anything about all this. Well, she had been excluded, so odds were she didn't know anything anyway. Well,
So wait, if you predict that someone we know is involved, who? Do you know who it is?
Tritherion nods and says, their interest is in your friends the mages, though if what I have divined is accurate, which I believe it is, they do not have a plan of action yet.
In Argan Tellerand.
Yes. If you can, I would warn your friends, but I will do what I can to harry their efforts.
Well, I can think of, one person in particular among them comes to mind as someone who might listen to it.
Tritherion nods and turns to Kelariis and says, I still have a few followers who are willing to assist me with gathering information and understanding what it is that is happening, and potentially can even mislead or provide a distraction. I will ask them if they are willing.
That would be much appreciated. However, there is one thing. Be sure. Well, I'm sure you'll do your best regardless. Be sure to see if you can reinforce your home, because I imagine they might try again. Maybe not soon, but
Sabriel and the others are already working on it.
good. I wouldn't want your sanctuary to fall because you were helping us.
That is considerate.
That does remind me, the barrier that was put up to stop people just teleporting in, is that still a thing? And if it is it going to stop us from teleporting out?
Tritherion shakes his head and says, I can allow those I desire to come and go as they please. The barrier was placed as a protective measure until we identified the source of where things were coming from. Now that I have more information, we should be able to put preventative measures in place for the future. And if we find ourselves under threat again, we at least know what we are facing, and I know where to find all of you.
Of course. The followers that you mentioned are... You're not referring to the ones... Sorry. You're not referring to everyone in Worksgate, are you?
They are among some.
Then there are others.
A handful. You met my old friend Dom whilst you were there.
Of course.
There are 2 other old friends that I have out in the world who still keep an eye on things.
I see. Circumstances and time permitting, I think that I would like to meet them one day.
I will see if we can make that happen. Dom certainly was intrigued when he first met you.
He mentioned as much after we had spoken a bit more.
I know, I was there.
You know what? Fair. you know, fair.
Sassy.
Fair, buddy.
Yeah. He was very interested in listening into that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't blame him.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
he sort of, with that natural pause, he sort of stands up and says, "Well, I will not keep you."
Yeah, if everyone's done then. And then, yeah, Elizabeth will extend her hands out towards Arya and Grim, because they're the people closest to her.
So let's hope the time hasn't messed us up too much over here.
Tritherion looks to you, Arya, and says, "I think with your newfound boon, you may find it easier to navigate the effects."
Oh, that should be a help.
Go with courage, my friends.
And
As always.
so put Scarlet away.
Okay.
There we go. And then once everyone has linked hands, plane shift.
Okay.
Back to the keep.
You plane shift
But,
back to the keep.
But if I can, I will try to not land us in the courtyard this time.
Okay, where do you want to
Like
land?
Outside the gate.
Okay.
So as not to alarm everyone, let's just alarm the 2 people who stand outside.
I was gonna say, I think we're still
I was gonna say scare the shit out of the two. Oh god, our mercenaries in the guild must be so tired of our bullshit.
We're just like, oh my god.
Fair.
Unless
It's
you
like,
reckon I
oh,
can-
these fuckers again.
We don't do it too often.
Yeah.
Unless you
No.
reckon I can land us in the war room. No one's gonna be in there.
Well, no, Vandal might be in there, and we might just scare the shit out of him from like appearing.
Oh, but scaring the shit out of Vandal would be funny.
No, we're gonna give him a heart attack.
And then he's gonna die, and then we'll feel
You won't-
bad.
He won't
Yeah.
have a heart attack.
Nah, Vandal's hardier than that. But also,
Yeah. Like,
let's
come
not
on.
land in the war room
Also,
because
he's-
we're probably gonna end up on the table, if anything.
Also, like, yeah, his beard's going a bit grey. He's not that old.
No, I know, but we just like to give him shit for it.
He's an old man.
He always says he's an old man, so.
Yeah, well, you're technically older in age, Arya. In pure years.
Pure years, but not in
Comparative.
maturation level.
Yeah, but still, technicalities.
Anyways, outside the gate.
Oh yes, I've just seen your message, Minnie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that.
Suspicious.
Yes. Well, he's put it in the chat.
Oh my
he,
god.
he thinks Arya's health maths is wrong,
Oh.
and I think he's right.
Yay!
Because it is a
Finally
D10, right?
get
Yeah,
over
it's a D10.
100.
Yeah. Okay, then that's
Yeah.
the number.
Oh my god. We've done it, boys.
We've done it.
We've
Oh.
done it.
You done it.
I know what it. I think I know what happened.
Mm.
Yeah, I think when we hit 15, you didn't increase your hit points because you weren't
Oh,
here
right.
for the.
Oh, maybe.
Actually, you would have missed two. It's exactly 2 level ups worth of health.
Ah, okay, so you went wrong somewhere else as well then. Okay, well there you go. Now you have more health.
Finally did it.
Hey, Arya, that means you're only 15 health behind me.
Yay!
More importantly, it means you don't die to power word kill. Yay!
Yeah.
Unless you've already
Well,
been hurt.
Unless you've
Yeah.
taken 16 damage.
Yeah,
Wow.
unless you stubbed your toe.
That's a really
Ow.
bad toe
I just
stub.
run it.
Holy shit!
Yeah, fucking hell.
Fucking
True.
16 health worth of a sub toe is wow.
That's a toe stub that would kill a normal man.
Yeah, that.
No, that's you stepped on a giant Lego.
Well, it's you stepped on a giant Lego at the top of a flight of stairs.
And then fell down.
Oh.
Yeah, and then ate shit down the stairs.
No, you stepped on a giant Lego at the top of the stairs after you thought there was a stair there that wasn't there, so you slammed your foot down really hard, thinking there was
And then
another
fell down the
stair.
stairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And landed on your neck.
So,
God.
It just gets worse and worse.
But just in case the fall down the stairs wasn't lethal enough,
Yeah, you guys teleport in front of the gates, expecting a smaller audience, but actually find that there are a number of Amber Eagle mercenaries stood outside of the gates.
Oh. God damn it.
Alongside Thalithsyr.
You know, that's probably the first. That's probably the first thing Elizabeth says when she materializes and sees all the people. She probably just goes, "God damn it!"
Is everything okay?
Who are you addressing with that statement?
Thalithsyr.
Okay. There's like a moment because she's like a short distance away from you. Like the two of you like approach each other. And yeah, you ask her. And she sort of stands to attention and sort of says, I, for the moment, at least, we were just going to go on patrol. Okay, so there's a bit of catching up here.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a very good question to start with. How long has it been?
Oh yeah.
How long has it been since what?
That's a good point.
Oh, since you left?
Yes, yeah, we left.
That's a good question. Somebody roll me 1d6.
Boom.
Okay. So Thalithsyr sort of like thinks to herself, like offers a little hand gesture and says, little less than a week.
Oh, well, less than a week. I guess that's
not
that's-
bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good, honestly, from what I've heard of the
Wait,
Feywild.
I just realized I've been there way longer than everybody else was, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
you've been there like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And Clarence is like, what the fuck?
yeah, we
Yep.
were there for a few hours. You were there for 2 weeks.
Great.
Time distortion.
Yes.
Time distortion. Woo!
fine.
Yeah, I think Clarence probably looks a little confused for a second, and then
Yeah.
just kind of is like, you know what? Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually pretty good for the Feywild, from what I've heard.
Plus, I think last time I couldn't quite remember what happened, so that's a plus this time.
Yeah, none of you experienced the fuzzy memories from the Feywild.
Thank goodness.
So yeah, so if you're busy, I'm assuming Fondal's inside and can catch us up.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, if you're busy, don't waste time explaining to us what we've missed.
Okay, and she like steps away and like signals the mercenaries back into like the marching column that they're in.
Yeah, and she'll be like, "Sorry, I tried to avoid just appearing out of nowhere, but there was people outside. I didn't expect that."
They give you like looks, but they don't seem bothered by it.
Yes, that's like normal for them. They're just like, "Ugh, with
Well,
this
we-
shit again."
We've only done it like a handful of times.
To be
Yeah.
fair, I think you'd only need a handful of times of your bosses appearing out of nowhere for it to be like, "Yeah, all right, that's just what they do."
I mean, like, yeah, the regular mercenaries probably. Thalithsyr's seen enough of our bullshit. This probably
Yeah.
doesn't even phase her
Yeah.
anymore. She's like,
The
alright,
Sarah
cool.
just- yeah, the Sarah saw all this happen and was like, "Oh."
Actually,
Uh,
that's a point. As they walk away, I think Kelariis, like, not like aggressively, but just like grabs Elizabeth by the arm so that she doesn't completely walk off and just says, "No words to the Sarah of what happened. Please."
Do you mean everything that's happened since we left, or anything
No.
that happened since we left before we left to get you?
No, specifically what happened to me.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
okay, I
want
get you.
her to worry.
Yeah, okay, yeah. None of that. Lips are sealed, and then it's just like a zip across mouth.
Thank you. But yeah, I guess we'll go find Wondal.
Okay.
Kelariis only thinks Elizabeth would say something. That's all.
Not Grim.
I mean, it's not inaccurate.
Well, see, Grim might end up telling her, but like I don't think they would like just end up talking. That's more the problem.
Like Grim would make an offhanded comment that like sounds like some shit happened to Kelariis, but like Elizabeth would just be like, "Oh yeah, Kelariis died," and that's not what Kelariis wants.
Yeah.
Uh,
Cars died, and Sarah's like, but she was there. She was right with you. It's like, yeah, she got brought back to life, but she died. Technically as well, Clarice is still recovering from that.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking exhausted. Like, I must look absolutely awful.
Yeah.
I meant to image now as well that like the Catharis did that, and like literally had to stab her sword in the ground to stop from falling over.
Excuse you, I have respect
Yeah.
for my sword. Thank
Well,
you very much.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, not necessarily the sword itself, but like, you know.
I imagine it was more that Kelariis saw Tallithsyr, like, drew herself up to her full height, and the moment Tallithsyr is out of line of sight, she's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like,
Probably.
that hurts.
Internally.
So, yeah, Tallithsyr is outside. As you step into the compound, you sort of take a look around. The place seems to be relatively empty, so you poke your head into the basically the hall, like the main training hall. And like as the lot of you sort of like push the door open and begin to step inside, you hear like a muffled yell of pain that sounds like Sidani, which for a moment puts you all on edge. At which point you like hear Vondal's voice in a very exasperated tone, who says, "I told you to stay still."
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What is happening?
In that case, yeah, Elizabeth, as soon as she gets them in view, is just like, something wrong.
Okay, so like as you step inside, Sidani is sat on a stool on the lip of the sand pit, with basically like her, she's in her not undergarments but like under armor.
Yeah. Just like tunic, trousers.
Yeah, like the loose fitting clothing that she would wear under her regular armor, except her the left shoulder of her like tunic is pulled down to like halfway down her arm, and Vondal is there with careful but hefty fingers prying a bloody bandage away from her shoulder.
Oh my god.
Oh dear.
What'd she do?
Despite this, Elizabeth probably has a slightly gay moment.
Okay.
Oh my
Wow.
god. What happened?
Come on, how wouldn't you?
I mean, the
Back-
fact
back
that
me up
there's a
here, Jayla.
bloody bandage would probably
Look,
defer me.
Back me up here, Jayla.
No, because
No.
I have priorities.
Yeah.
So yeah, you sort of do that. Like Sidani sort of like turns, but it can't like fully turn without like pulling the shoulder. Vondal turns and says, "Ah, you're back. I was beginning to get worried."
No,
Yeah.
no need to worry about us. As Kelariis is like
Yeah.
leaning,
Okay.
like
Okay, you and I both know that's not true. There is plenty of reason to worry about us, but you don't have to do that anymore because we're back.
Okay, Vondal does
And we're all
not succeed
okay.
on an insight check.
Kelariis is just leaning against the door trying to look
Yeah.
casual.
That's scary. That's scary. as
While
hell.
her legs are
Vondal-
just screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
it's
re-
fine.
yeah.
Just arms
That's-
crossed. We're good here.
That's lucky for you, Kelariis, because Vondal has an insight of 8. If I
Yeah.
remember
Oh yeah.
correctly. Vondal's got good insight.
Damn,
But
what did
yeah.
he roll? Awfully.
Like a 3.
Oh god, Rip
Yeah.
Vondal. Holy
But yeah,
shit.
Elizabeth's just gonna be like, okay, well, yeah, we're back, we're fine. Our story can wait. What? This is more immediate.
Yeah, like I think Vondal like says, just a moment. I guess he turns back to Sidani and says, "Hold on to something." Pulls the bandage off, and you see him cast Healing Word as Sidani just goes, "Ah!"
Oh wow.
While the bandage is off, can I medicine check? Because I'm concerned.
Yeah, you can give me a medicine check.
Okay, my van's just turned off. Good. Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
wow.
Nat 1!
Um,
I'm doing good, guys. I've got a nat 20 and a nat 1.
Perfectly average.
Yeah.
yeah, Elizabeth, your brain just becomes white noise as you watch the bloody bandage being ripped away, and you're just like, oh, okay, no.
Yeah, presumably she's distracted by the scream. That's
Yeah.
probably the most likely thing.
I would say actually probably Arya, with your knowledge of field medicine, your new proficiency in medicine, and your understanding as a ranger, the wounds that are quickly closed by Vondal's magic is they are arrow wounds. But they are not from hunting arrows, they are from broadhead arrows, which are the kind of arrows you use to shoot people in armor.
What the hell has been going on here?
Vondal sort of like turns back from Sidani and says, I'm really sorry about that. So, to cut a long story short, in the time that you've been gone, Ivywood Market has had some problems with raiders.
Oh.
Oh,
Who's these
no.
fucking raiders messing up our town?
Right?
We'll show him who's boss.
We don't have an answer to that yet. That's sort of what we are. I presume you met Tallithsyr on the way out.
Yeah.
We're keeping some regular patrols of the perimeter of the town and looking into some things. We don't know precisely who these people are, what their goals are, but all we know is they have been targeting caravans coming and going from the town. A little bit, I suppose, poor timing for us, great timing for them, just recovering from a little dragon incident. The thing that's concerning is that they seem to know when the caravans of high value seem to be the ones coming and going. And yeah, they're organized. When the first one was hit, Sidani and the others volunteered to keep an eye on the next caravan to go out, and well, let's just say they took out our small escort with surprising efficiency.
People actually get killed?
There are some people who are more severely wounded than Sidani. I tended to them as best I could, but they're receiving more focused medical attention in the town. And he sort of like, I guess he makes like a blessing sign on himself and just sort of says, Tom's luck that no one is seriously wounded, but Sidani is, well, improving. And he says this with like a disapproving tone in his voice. Yeah, she's improving if she'd listened to my advice.
I guess Elizabeth would then turn to Sidani and tilt her head to one side, looking very concerned.
She sort of says like, I'm bandaged up, but I can still use a sword. And Vonda says, no, you can't.
Yeah, Elizabeth's gonna sigh and just be like, yeah, you should really listen to healers. I mean, if your problem is you've got nothing to do and you're bored, then I mean, there is maybe some things you could be doing to practice that aren't swinging a sword.
Vondal looks exasperated and just sort of says, how about we just go for bed rest for at least one day?
Okay, yeah. Bed rest, and then maybe I can return the favor of you helping me with the So am I fighting by teaching you some, by helping you with some magic? If that interests you in any way.
Sidani seems to appreciate the gesture, but is sort of like, I'd rather be out there being useful, but I'll take it.
You'll be more useful if you're not out there. You'll be more useful if you get full rest and go out there with full strength. Trust me, that's coming from somebody who hates having to sit still.
There's an eye roll and a suppressed snort from Vondal.
I just shoot him a look like, don't even touch me, buddy.
Yeah, he spent like half a year healing you guys. He knows how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, yeah, Elizabeth then turns to the rest of us and just the rest of the group, and it's just like, I mean, if anything, we all know what it's like to be wounded and should probably sit still.
Yeah,
At which point she probably instinctively like place her hands on a hand on her lower ribs. Just
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Vondal sort of like bundles up the bloody bandage, throws it into a basket, and starts washing his hands. But he says, "Well, that's the short version of what happened to us. How did it go with you? I assume you were successful."
well, yeah, as you can see, Kelariis is back.
I can see that.
So
Well-
yes, great success. Though there are definitely things that we should discuss more quietly.
Vondal nods and sort of like he looks to Kelariis and says, "I want to have a word with you as well."
Okay.
All right, Dad.
Wow.
Yeah, alright, Dad. Jeez, I just got back.
Please tell me that's a character.
No, of course not.
Ah,
That's me making a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, in character, just sure. What do you need?
He like looks back at Sidani for a moment and says, "In private."
Noted. What the
So-
fuck, Bundle?
So these these raiders or whatever they are. I don't know if they're bandits or raiders or what.
Right. Well, they said raiders.
Raiders,
How often are
bandits.
they attacking?
Hasn't been consistent enough to say yet, but they always seem to know when something of value is going out. So my
the
sister.
theory dictates they must have someone on the inside, right?
That's my thought as well.
It's the only sensible conclusion.
The guard are looking into it, but I don't mean to be
Well-
rude, but they are somewhat limited in their capacity for investigations.
Well,
I mean,
That's
yeah,
what
Couple
I was
facts.
willing to offer to help them out because I can track
Well,
them
yeah,
at
like-
least.
I mean, yeah. If you guys' stories has taught me anything, it's that local guards aren't always the best to deal with internal city corruption.
well, like on top of that, like if you look at what they did to Sidani,
Yeah, these aren't
like
your
she's
normal bandits.
she could probably handle a couple of guards on her own, and
Vondor sort of like folds his arms and takes a very matter-of-fact stance and says, "Wow, the militia do their best. I mean, you're essentially arming a group of regular
Oh.
Joes with weapons and giving them rudimentary battle training. It's not exactly like they're trained warriors. But
Well,
credit where credit's due, they do what it's worth.
Yeah,
They mostly
so-
deal with petty thievery and drunken brawls."
for too long. Wow. Yeah, this was gonna say. Well, you've been training them well, Vondal. They're already looking.
Oh, I'm not talking about our lot, I'm talking about the regular
Oh.
guard.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, okay, yeah, true.
Oh, I expect a lot more out of our guys.
yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oof.
Well, what I'm saying with our guys is they're looking like professional soldiers.
Oh,
Thank you.
it will take a while before they're truly there.
Wow.
Dang.
Like Well, they still need that touch of experience that you can't get from training.
Well, it looks like they're getting it now. Speaking of which, we should have the conversations that need to be had, and then we should probably go about dealing with these problems.
Well, like, how about you and you and Kelariis can have your little talk, and then we'll.
Yeah, I'd like to go
Yeah.
speak to the captain of the guard, maybe, for the town.
Oh, are we just splitting up now?
Oh, we don't have to split up, but I was
Oh, well,
later.
Oh, we might want to we might want to evaluate what's going on beforehand, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna, all go up to the war room, and then we were gonna come down.
Right, but I'm saying later, eventually.
Oh, yeah. Once we've done in the war room, then Kelariis and Vondal can have their talk, and we can go about doing whatever we want to do.
Yeah, Vondal sort of like holds up his hand and says, "You guys just got here. I mean, are we
Well-
all right? I mean, I don't want to jump you guys after. We have people who can deal with this. It's
yes.
Hey,
But I wanted to use my
Hey, let
army
it-
of wolves to intimidate them.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, Elizabeth's gonna look at Vondal and just say, "Hey, let it never be said that we as higher ups don't get into the thick of things with our boys."
nobody's saying that. It's just, you know what? Do what pleases you.
No. I
It was
think
just a suggestion.
well, well, I think her suggestions might become a little more clear after we've informed you,
Yeah.
or her
Yeah.
reasoning might be.
You're gonna give Vondal a fucking like aneurysm or something at this point because we're being
Yeah.
so like.
Yeah, Vonda's like, yeah, okay, let's settle this.
Oh, fine. You know what? I guess your talk with Kelariis can wait until afterwards. Then,
Also-
then Arya, you can get
Yeah.
going, and I'll see what
Yeah.
we two do,
Yeah.
like me and Elizabeth.
Also, Rob, sorry, can you pull Lyra onto the map?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Also, yeah.
It's like I need my wolf.
yeah.
I need
So,
my
yeah.
wolf.
Elizabeth's then gonna look at Vondal. I was like, "Well, if I'm gonna do what pleases me, then," and she'll walk like in front of Sidani and say, just be like, "Please try to, get a bit of rest. I know it's hard."
Give me a persuasion check.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but I'm just going to let this happen.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Get dunked on. What is wrong? What? Look at that, guys. Natural 20, natural 1, natural 20. What the fuck is going on?
Okay. Sidani like sort of just like leans on her knee, like looks up at you,
Do
just
the best puppy dog eyes.
doesn't have the energy to resist you, and just sort of says, "Fine, I will take a break."
Besides, if you don't, you'll learn why you're supposed to take a break.
Why does
Like,
everything Grim
yeah.
say sound like a threat?
Because
Oh,
No,
my
it's more a
God.
case of like you'll suffer the consequences in like
My
a
God!
joking
No,
way.
I know,
Yeah.
but it sounds like
yeah.
a threat every time.
See,
yeah, and
people
then-
just need to readjust their mentality around Grim.
No. Grim just needs to calm down. Yeah.
Grim just needs to
Anyway.
stop
But no,
saying
yeah.
things in the most
Yeah.
threatening way
That's what-
possible.
Yeah, and then Elizabeth will then like say something, be like, "If it makes the both of you feel any better," and she'll sort of look to Vondal as well. Then, if you really want to go out and do stuff, then I can come with you, and I can probably stop you from getting any new wounds.
Vondal
like-
just has his arms folded and is just shaking his head.
Honestly,
I feel
Arya
like-
is too.
I feel like Grim
You're
is
still in thin
laughing,
fucking ice,
kind of,
Elizabeth. She's not gonna
like-
trust you with Sidani's well-being
my
as well.
like I just find it amusing. Like, oh no, take it easy. Oh no, I can help you like fight without getting wounded. It's like yes, because like fighting is so
Yeah,
relaxing.
She wants to be. Look, Sidani's already agreed to take it easy. She's just now offering. Look, if there's any way I can help, she's
Yeah.
just not wording it very well because she's Elizabeth.
She like pats you on the side and just sort of says, "I appreciate that." And as much as I hate to admit it, Vondal is right. I will be better if I rest. It's just a little frustrating.
Well, but yes, let's get going.
Okay. So you're all heading upstairs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, and she'll say, like, Elizabeth will just part with, "Stay safe, Sidani."
So yeah, I guess Sidani will head off to the bunks, and the rest of you will
Oh. War room!
to the war room.
Wolf.
The wolf is too big.
Wolf.
Yeah.
Wolf can't
Big
fit in
wolf.
the war room.
She'll just sit by the
However-
door.
However,
She just
yeah,
like
Wolf.
sits in the door.
Yeah,
no,
just
yeah.
just lies in the doorway, looking intimidatingly
Yeah.
at anyone who wants to come in.
Yeah, exactly. She's the ultimate guard dog. Someone will walk up the stairs, be like, "Oh, where are they?" And like, "Oh,
This is fine.
Okay, so you gather in the war room, and Von also says, "So, what's the situation?"
It's a lot more dire than we thought.
yeah,
Whilst we were there, we got to meet Tritherion under somewhat dire circumstances. He was under siege.
Oh,
and
hang on. Dial that back just a second. Run that by me
Yeah,
one more time.
we met Tritherion in the
Yes.
Feywild because that's
But
where
that's-
Kelariis had been taken.
Yes, but that's not the point right now. The
I
point
went
is,
willingly, to be fair. Let's
Well,
not give
yeah.
Rondal more of a.
Yeah, Kelariis had willingly been taken by an angel to the crossroads in the Feywild
Celestial.
where Tritherion was hiding.
like, all these things not important right now.
Yeah, weirdly enough,
important
those are
thing-
like the minor things.
Elizabeth,
Well-
please.
Sorry.
Okay. So, he was under siege, and they used some kind of ancient magic that, like, even Tritherion himself is unfamiliar with, to drain him of his power. He wasn't helpless, but he certainly wasn't as powerful as you'd expect him to be.
Also, his angels were kind of permanently dying.
Yes. We managed to help them.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Look,
Or Rondal.
It's fine.
Anyway.
Like, the reason why this is important is because it means that, sure, they went for Tritherion, but this most likely means they have the ability to actually take out other gods as well. Well, they failed this time, but it wasn't by
Yeah.
much.
Basically, the Dread Legion have a god-killing weapon. And we don't know anything about it.
Well, we know, however, we did learn some things. Most importantly, we think we have the name that goes with their commander. Azrael the Twisted. Not that says, well, doesn't tell you much right now, but like, it's a name is something to go on at least.
I mean, we have at least leads. Supposedly the Raven Queen knows something about it. And
Well-
Wait, that
yeah,
Raven Queen. That's the person we met,
Yes.
right?
yes,
Yes.
her.
How does she factor into all of this?
She
No
has.
idea.
Well, she's gotten a bit more power since we last saw her. First off, but
Well, and she's apparently the most likely person to know what is up with the, well, god slaying things or weakening devices and all that kind of stuff.
She looks after the dead, after all.
And I also have a hunch, however, that might require a little more persuasion, that since she gets to talk to so many of the dead people, she might be able to trick some of the Dread Legion that has passed away into revealing some information. However, that little part is not really confirmed. That's just me on a hunch.
Okay.
Out of character, I'm starting to think it's like probably easier if we just say we give Fodal all the information that we
I
got.
feel like it's not necessarily the worst thing to get us all up to speed again, just in
Yes.
case we
I
forget
suppose.
something.
Good point.
I feel that was more what I was thinking right now.
But yeah, we can tell you the good news, which is Tritherion didn't die.
Yeah. Okay. This is a lot of information for me to go through right now.
Yeah.
But-
Perfectly understandable.
If I'm understanding correctly, you guys have some leads on this already.
Yeah, vague ones.
Well, that's positive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I
However-
suppose, and I was thinking, obviously, like our best chance of finding the Raven Queen is V, right?
It's possible.
Oh, and also there's we also asked about possibilities of what might would happen if it was necessary to travel to the Abyss.
We didn't get much of an answer there.
Yeah, basically we got more leads that I'll have to look into because it's very, academic stuff. Although I suppose maybe you could help.
Right.
Kelariis might be able to help with one of them.
Perhaps.
Yeah, because the leads we got for that, basically, Tritherion said he knew of people who had attempted to travel to the Abyss before. I made a note of 3 names that I know of.
Well, I think there is one thing about the whole traveling to the Abyss. Until we have a reason to do so, or have no other leads to go hunt down, I feel like that should be a lower priority right now.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
Because, chasing down leads that might never be useful, and
Well, I don't know, I was
hopefully
gonna
never
say-
required.
Well, I was going to suggest that if I'm still in trouble, I could look at those things while you guys are trying to track down V.
Well, didn't you mention that, some of these, for example, the wizard was the old magic book. What was their name again?
You mean
Rodil Emberon, I believe.
Rodilembron? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's probably the easiest one to go after because I imagine because he's obviously recognized from academic study, so it's quite likely that Argan Telemann would at least have something on him, or at least something on someone who's read his work. So that's probably the easiest one to look into, at least from where we are. There's also Visastris, who I doubt will find anything useful where we are currently, but either over to the west or to the south, they might have something more relevant, closer to the Dragonborn.
Probably west if we're looking for something that historical.
Yeah, and then our most desperate lead is the Shades of Inar Matil, who are going to be a nightmare to try and look into, because they're from a time before the mortal races as we know them. And as far as I know, their descendants are the Goliaths.
From the north.
Yes.
The North.
From north.
From up into north. Ooh, aye.
This is fine.
Yeah, no.
Don't tell you things like it's in Tintin.
Van Dahl sort of says, all of those sound, well, a bit beyond what I would know or have any experience in, except for the Shades.
Oh.
I could be wrong, but back when I was training in I forget the name of where it actually was that he trained. So I'm going to have to wait for the map to load. The Abbey of the Golden Lion. Back when I trained in the Abbey of the Golden Lion, there were a lot of the popular talk of the time was about how people were setting up outposts right on the very vestiges of society where people had never really bothered to expand borders before, way in the south and way in the north. I wish I could remember more, but Enama Till sounds familiar. Not as a person, but a story. One of the groups that people met during the colonization of places in the north. One of the recurring things that kept coming up was stories of these roaming tribes that lived up there. Some of them humans or the like, but others that seemed more primal, I guess the word you'd use is. There were supposedly groups living out there that had been living for centuries off the land. And obviously the settlers were running into them, coming across them in grounds. I don't remember too much more than that, but I suppose people up north would know, if that's where you want to look for them.
I mean, is this northeast or northwest? I'm assuming northeast, because that's close to where you...
Yeah, places like Whiteshale or Needle Harbour.
See, that's great, because, yeah, Elizabeth probably then pulls out that piece of paper that she had before, the night before, just starts adding more to it, and it's like,
Okay.
See, that's good, because previously, like, I was holding, like, literally my best lead for finding them was trying to track down that storm giant we saved. And, yeah, that's about as equally unlikely. But
No,
that's
I
a
think
much easier lead to chase now.
I think if you're looking for tribes, then those are the people you'll ask. They don't tend to stay in one place, hence nomads, but
yeah,
they have an idea of where to look.
Probably, yeah. However, there is one. I feel like we might still want to try the books first in Argentellorand.
Vondar nods and sort of says, "Books are probably your best start.
Yeah.
A lot less traveling to get hold of them."
Yeah, Rodelemberon's books as well are probably having, now that I know that he traveled the Abyss, it might make more of his writings make more sense.
Yeah. Like as a point of reference, Elizabeth, like your understanding of Rodel is, at least in terms of his writing, he's like the Toland of like magic authors, in that everything he writes is like a riddle or a poem or some nonsensical rambling madness. But each of them having like points or of interest or whatever.
Yeah. In that case, you'd probably add an additional comment of like, in fact, it might even be easier if they let me bring books out, but I don't think they would. So looking into that wouldn't be a quick job, I don't think.
Oh, but it is a job we can do whilst we try and rest up. So you can hop back and forth.
If that's what you want me to do.
Well, some of us might have to regain some of their strength.
I can imagine after a week of traveling, you guys are, well, pretty worn down.
Yeah, about that week thing. We weren't actually in the Feywild for that long.
Well,
We were there for like.
some of you weren't.
Okay, yeah, like. Okay, yeah, me, Arya, and Grim were only there for at most half a day. Kelariis was there for like how long?
Nearly 2 weeks, if not a bit longer.
Vondos sort of nods and says, yeah, now I remember.
Yeah.
That's one other prominent thing that should maybe be mentioned, but I probably shouldn't mention it.
What
And then
is
she
that?
just sort of looks at Kelariis.
Oh.
Go on.
There was a temporary issue. How do you like? Okay,
I mean,
really?
yeah,
though, like,
Elizabeth-
how do you come up to somebody and be like, "Yo, I
Yeah.
fucking died, but it's
Yeah,
fine."
Well,
honestly, I think
to be
Elizabeth just
fair-
hears that and shrugs and goes, I guess that's one way to put dying.
Well, yeah. To be fair, like there was a little accident with an exploding. What are they called again?
Baylor.
To be
Baylor.
clear, I was full aware of what.
No, yeah, you did it. Like what you did was entirely the right thing to do in that situation because someone had to kill the thing, and you made sure that
Yeah.
no one else got caught in.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry,
Yeah,
there was a
the
very
blast.
loud car that passed outside my window. I had to mute myself so it didn't come through in the recording. Kelariis actually finished her full sentence. Which was basically, I was fully aware of what I did when I hit that Baylor. It
Yeah.
just led to several other unfortunate circumstances that did not go so well.
Yeah, I guess the important thing to explain if you don't know it, Baylors like to explode when you kill them. So we were concerned when it was looking about to die because a lot of us would have been hit by it. So Kelariis made sure we were.
I think I
Elizabeth,
understand.
These are all unnecessary details, but like in short, yeah, there was like Kelariis went down. Nothing we haven't had happen before, I guess. Especially someone should be familiar with this. Looking at Elizabeth.
Dang.
She just folds her arms, just like a.
But yes.
Yeah, Vondal sort of like looks at Kelariis, then looks to the rest of you and says, "Well, it looks like she got better. So
Yeah, yeah. Like
how?"
just
It's just a flesh wound.
well, as we mentioned, we were there with Tritherion, and
Yeah, and we successfully.
once his power was restored, it was
Yeah,
a trivial task.
yeah. One of his archangel helped with that.
But that aside, there is one big thing that we haven't addressed yet. Because Tritherion did decide to help us out a little bit in the form of information. He gathered that like the Dread Legion were going to strike at some of our friends.
Oh yeah.
So, well, like we believe it might be in Argentellarian, but like it could be in multiple places. It could be anywhere, really.
Well, he said our friends, the mages.
Yeah.
He did some divining while we slept, and I think he said it wasn't clear exactly, but he said the mages, and I assumed he meant the college in Argentellarian. It's the only people I could think of.
I guess we should have asked if when he said mages, if he meant wizards or.
Well, I then said in Argentellarian, and he kind of confirmed
He
that.
did confirm in the capital, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was
And he
thinking
said we should
because
warn them.
there was the Druid Circle. How close is that to Argentellarian?
They're
Pretty
kind of
far,
aren't
isn't it?
they?
Yeah, that's pretty out.
Ah, that
several
was
weeks.
okay.
Yeah, like a couple of days travel.
Like, just making sure that they wouldn't be like a potential target. 'Cause I guess we haven't been too close to them recently.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, if you consider them friends, obviously, then yeah. But I would have thought that you'd consider the college in Argentellarian more friends.
Yeah,
We
but
have
like
friends out in the
it's-
Druid Circle It's just we haven't been there recently.
But I would consider, like, if from how things were dealt with last time, the druids may have had more of an impact in the legion's downfall, or maybe not the legion's downfall, but when you lot went into the what's it called again?
Shadowfell.
Shadowfell.
Yeah.
That's why I was perhaps they may have more beef with them. But
Yeah.
about considering the location, let's stick to assuming it's the college.
Yeah.
Or at least the city.
Vondal
Yeah.
throughout this has just sort of been like absent-mindedly just sort of like looking at the dwarven thrower in his hand, like passing it from hand to hand, like digesting all of this. And he sort of says, well, if Tritherion divined that this might be their target, then we should probably warn them.
Yeah, that's probably what I was going to do at some point.
The issue lies in we don't know how this threat is coming. Like,
Well,
we don't
yeah.
know if it's a infiltration. We don't know if it's a full-on assault. Like, because if they just decided to summon a single Baelor in the center of the city, that would, like, basically be devastating. Like, sure, they might be able to take it out, but even if they take it out, like, it would take so much wizard. And considering from what we have seen,
I don't
a
know, it would
single
kind of-
one is not a problem.
It would kind of go against what the Dread Legion has done so far, though. It would be very out of character.
Well, look,
They've been on the hush for so long. Why would they suddenly go for something so big?
Although now we have taken out one of their major forces of opposition.
Like,
yeah.
that is very true. The Cabal were, well, supposedly keeping them in check. And we didn't get too many leads from them as to how they were doing that.
Well, they might not be completely dead.
And then there is a second factor to keep into account. The Legion has been getting closer and closer to succeeding at their goal. They might be willing to expose themselves for that final stretch.
True.
It sounds to me right now like our priority is information.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, isn't it always?
Well, sometimes it's direct action, but...
Yeah, but like, as soon as direct action happens, it only takes us a few days, and it's back to information again. Oh well. I guess that's fine.
The first time that I have heard you admit, Vondal, that direct action is sometimes better than information first.
I don't recall saying those words exactly, but...
Hey, to be fair...
you got guts.
To be fair, he has mellowed out.
Kelariis has just like it's a very much like a teasing look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vondal...
Even before he retired, he was starting to see that method a bit more.
Yeah.
Just nowhere near to the extent Kelariis and Arya see it.
Vondal just like pauses for a second. He goes, "Do you guys ever miss just..." And he like mimes like a swinging motion with the hammer, just like, you know, like beating goblins at weddings and the simple stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Like, if you want,
But
we can get someone to replace you, and you could go out for a little bit.
Well, I was looking forward to squashing some bandits, but...
I mean, nothing's
well.
stopping you from going out.
You can still squash some bandits.
Yeah.
If you want someone to cover for you here, I'll give it a go.
I mean, to be quite honest, I'm not...
Again, Arya's not going to trust Elizabeth running the fucking organization when she's on thin ice.
Yeah.
I don't mean running the organization. I just mean, you know... I don't know.
Yeah, Vondal sort of like holds up his hand and sort of says, yeah, it sounds like you all have... perhaps maybe not immediately pressing, but generally grander concerns to be worried about. I think as an organization we can deal with these bandits, but if you guys are willing to contribute something to assist with that, then I'm not going to turn that down. But it's your
I
call.
mean, to be quite honest, I probably shouldn't be going anywhere far for several days. So if you wanted to swap with me for a while, by all means, go out and take some.
Yeah, Kelariis probably should be resting almost as much as Sidani.
I might take you up on that.
And honestly, it might be a good idea for me to just get into the paperwork for a bit, see where we're at, and then you can, Arya was already eager to go help, so perhaps the two of you can go figure that out, and then we have Elizabeth going over and, actually, maybe one of us should go over and try and explain the situation with her. In Argentellorand. Though I guess no, we should not send her alone. Definitely.
I mean, when I'm feeling a bit better, I'm more than happy to go into town and see if they have anybody worth questioning. And I kind of just like tap the
rod
at my side.
Man, they're gonna lie just because they're nervous and die.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I have other ways of asking them questions, but the implication is clear if I do that versus
Yeah, that's your they know that's your last resort. We all know that's your last resort.
Yeah, I don't.
As if the
lightly.
Dragonborn needs help intimidating people.
Yeah, there's like a moment where Vondal just sort of like rubs his temple, like, oh, we're back here again.
It's fine.
Well, okay, so here's the plan. You Kelariis, stay in. Well, okay, maybe not stay in bed necessarily, but stay close to bed.
Rest.
I'll
and rest.
stay in the keep, or at least very nearby.
Yeah. If anything, it's a good idea to at least walk around.
Yes, but like the details don't matter right now. Big picture. Arya, you can help Fandal, and then I will on the first today. I will actually if you want to help out Fandal, I'm gonna go with Elizabeth today to warn them in Argentellorand.
If we go today, I'd have to rest over there because I've already teleported us from the Feywild today.
Well, I guess then I'll start doing. I guess we'll start that part tomorrow. But then tomorrow I'll head over to Argentellorand and then inform them.
Oh. Well, in that case, I can introduce you to my filing system.
Oh no. Well, I guess it has to be done.
Grim has immediate regrets.
There's a part of me that can't believe I'm suggesting this, but wouldn't Arya be better coming with me? For several reasons.
Well, if she's up for it.
There's little else that I would dislike doing more.
Hey, if you want to,
You know what? In that case,
if you want to keep an eye on me, surely that's the best way to do it.
But do you know what? I think I'll handle it. Don't worry. Don't worry about it, Arya.
I just.
Well, if you guys want to go ahead and start making your preparations, I'll have a word with Kelariis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
Everyone clear out.
I'll start getting familiar with the filing system.
I'm gonna squeeze out this door.
Filing system.
I'm gonna squeeze out this door because Lyra's out the other door.
Okay. So yeah, eventually the room is vacated. And Vondal turns to you, Kelariis, and sort of says, I'll be blunt with this. I need you to have a word with the Sira.
What do you mean?
So the team that I put together to keep an eye on this first caravan consisted of the Sira, Sidani, and the 2 recruits. The 2 recruits are recovering from some serious but not, thankfully, life-threatening injuries. Sidani is also recovering. The Sira managed to make it through without injury. And honestly, that seems to have been the worst case scenario. At the risk of sounding incredibly rude, she is right now reminding me of you a lot. She seems to be taking this failure entirely personally.
Ah. I thought you were going to say that she was being reckless, and that's why she was reminding you of me.
I'm worried that if she continues to feel like this, she is going to do something reckless. She seems to think everyone being injured is her fault. And I'm worried as to what she's going to do to attempt to remedy that. I've been trying to keep her busy, and I've tried to have a word with her, but it isn't going through.
What have you tried to tell her already? I guess just...
That she shouldn't consider this her fault. Like, it's... We all make mistakes. The standard reassurance speech. I don't know that she isn't hearing the message. I think she's just not hearing it from the right person.
It sounds like the things they used to tell me in the army. Well, for the brief time I was there. I feel like she might need to hear it a slightly different way. Just knowing her.
That's why I'm asking you.
Well, I will definitely speak to her,
Thank you.
of course. The others are doing alright, for the most part.
It's a bit of a shock. They're, I think they're all a little nervous, but that's to be expected. They're taking to it, though.
Well, while I'm around, if there's anything I can do. I'm not exactly going anywhere for a couple of days, so...
No. Well, wherever you think you can help is appreciated.
You're not the only one who can do a little bit of healing. Just kind of...
He nods and sort of says, yeah, I have done what I can, but some people take to healing better than others.
Of course. Sometimes it's better to let them heal naturally if they can spare the time anyway.
Yeah, he nods and says, yeah, it's... Magical healing tends to, as you know, leave scars. He sort of, like, indicates the side of his face.
Yeah, Kelariis definitely, like, puts a hand to her side where her old one is.
Yeah.
And probably several new ones forming, so...
Yeah. Yeah, he sort of nods and, like, smiles and also says, yeah, not all of us are, built to take the kick of magic healing and keep going. Not all of us can be Arya taking goblin blades to the gut and then partying with the rest of us.
Classic.
Classic Arya.
Yep.
I mean, I respect her for it. That's definitely a different sort of endurance.
Yeah. I think we're all uniquely special in that sense.
Maybe in some other ways, too.
And from the sounds of your adventures, in more ways than we originally suspected.
You sound like you're getting sentimental already. It's not even been long since you've been in the at the keep.
I think it's a matter of perspective. It's always hard doing this job. You see a lot of people making the same mistakes that you did when you were training. And, well, I see a lot of Thalithsyr in you, and strangely enough, a lot of Grim in Sidani. But
Hopefully not his way with words,
she's
if we can call it that.
definitely got a lot more tact. Though she's not afraid to say what she's thinking.
I mean, that's good. Need somebody to speak their mind. Maybe she can learn from Grim's lack of tact. We'll say.
I'm sure there's some good she can learn from it. I've yet to find where that is, but I'm sure there is some.
I love how, given the opportunity, everyone loves talking shit about how Grim words things.
Because he does! He words things like
awful.
awfully!
It is
I know,
great.
that's what I love about it.
And yet he's
the
the one who talks, like, who does the most official
He's
talking
the one
in
in
our group.
charge! And I'm like,
Yeah.
It is
He's,
amazing.
he's the boss, you know?
Look,
We need an
Well-
official, like, court diplomat. That's what we need.
It's not
He
gonna be
needs
Grim!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we had a more charismatic leader, then we
Look,
wouldn't need
it
one.
is
but
Grim.
the thing
That's the
is, we
problem.
do need.
Yeah, I know, the problem is it is
it's Grim.
Uh,
We need a new one.
Wow, I can't believe you're gonna replace Grim.
We're not going to
we just need someone to talk for Grim.
Grim is
yeah.
the hero we deserve. He's just not the one we need right now.
Like all you
Yeah.
appreciated Grim is him just being
Yeah.
a rock and standing there getting hit without ever anything happening.
Yeah.
But
We
yeah.
appreciate you for other things.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, look,
But
you're
ca-
the leader, but you need someone to more efficiently speak for you.
Coming back to the conversation,
Yeah.
yeah, Vondal says sort of, yeah, I'm surprised by quite how intense things seem to have gotten, though I'm considering this grand story we've been on so far, I can't say I'm all that surprised. But I'm glad you're back.
No one else, just Kelariis.
Yeah.
Well,
Dang.
Kelariis is the only person in the room, and she was missing the last time they came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Clarice was the only one who was MIA when they last saw the
Yeah.
rest of us.
yeah, he says, I'm glad to see you back.
It's nice to be back. Honestly.
You're looking pretty good for dead.
Kelariis just like fully burst out laughing at that because that is the most surprising thing Mondal could have said.
It's wow. Somehow it's still very Vondal, I approve.
Oh, it is. I mean, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Definitely wasn't this. But
Who
it
never
could have been
expected to die.
no. It could have been a lot worse. Even having been a bit close to it a couple of times, this was definitely a different experience.
He sort of like offers like a wistful smile and sort of says, yeah, it's something that doesn't... Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it when you were gone, but...
What,
I've
that I
s-
was already dead?
Not in so many words, but... When I'm not out there with all of you, I worry. And honestly, I'm surprised that as many of you come back every time as you do.
Wow.
Like I said, you're not the only one that can do a little bit of healing, but we've learned a bit, I think, since we first started out. Some of us a bit more so than others, but I won't name any names.
You don't need to. He hangs the dwarven thrower back on his belt and just says, well, as much as rest is needed, this garrison still doesn't feed itself.
Go and get out there. Go deal with those raiders. I think it'll do you some good.
He sort of like pats you affectionately on the shoulder as he like gets off the chair and walks past you. And he just sort of says, you know, I think bringing some villains to justice will rekindle some old fires.
Now you're talking, or now you're speaking in the way that I can understand.
He just heads out.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think on that we will take a short break.
Cool.
Okay.